I'm in the 2023 Lexus RX 450h Plus plug-in hybrid. This is the first plug-in hybrid for the Lexus RX. We had this plug-in hybrid, the 450h Plus that is, on the NX for the new redesign in 2022. Here in 2023 with the new 5th generation Lexus RX redesign, we're seeing it reprise its role. It will not be available at launch here in North America. When is launch? Well, production for the RX starts in October and the Canadian and Japanese plants, and then they will be available late 2022, but not for us with the plug-in hybrid. The plug-in hybrid will be available, we don't know exactly when, but at a later date. So 2023 calendar year sometime for this vehicle. We don't know everything about it. So even though I'm driving it, it's a Euro spec model. I don't know official horsepower numbers. I'm guessing it's around 306 horsepower. I'm also assuming it's the 18.1 kilowatt hour battery we see in the Lexus NX, for example. But just going up this hill, the torque is so much more noticeable, and the engine's not nearly as obtrusive as it is in the much more affordable 350h hybrid. There's also the 500h hybrid, and make sure to watch my video, first driving impressions of those as well. I'm not going to do like a walk around on this because this is the only plug-in hybrid here at this US driving event. So it's getting swapped around between journalists very quick, so I don't want to, you know, be selfish and do a walk around inside and out. Just know that it's pretty much identical except for a couple of these buttons over here, such as the EV hybrid vehicle hold charge button. You can swap between how the vehicle behaves. So right now I'm in hybrid vehicle mode, and then now I'm in EV mode, and now I'm in hybrid mode. So you can, and then you can hold it for charging the plug-in hybrid battery. So there's lots of different things you can do, and there's also auto EV hybrid mode button. So just kind of letting it do its own thing. So you're not going to get full performance. You're not going to get a full 300 plus horsepower. If you're in EV mode only, you'll be limited to 200 and some horsepower because you're taking out the assist from the 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. So if you're wondering where the heck I am, you haven't watched my other videos, I am outside of Santa Barbara, California to drive the new RX. It is absolutely stunning out here in this small wine country. I don't know, it could be big for all I know. I just know it's probably smaller than Napa Valley, for example, or Sonoma. But I'm gonna take a right here and we're gonna get into the acceleration, do a quick 0 to 60, and have some fun in this new plug-in hybrid for Lexus. So let's just make sure it's in hybrid mode, and then we're gonna get into sport mode here. And this is going to be slightly downhill, and I'm not going to torque brake it because there's traffic coming. So 3, 2, 1, go. Slightly out of turn. Felt some tire slippage. This is definitely quicker. Okay, there we go. Everything's in kilometers per hour. So it said I was going 100. I'm like, wait a second, it's not that fast. It's because it's in kilometers, not miles. So 0 to 60 in 6.65. You know, maybe slightly downhill, but that was a pretty flat portion, and I was turning right. 6.65. I got 7.4 in the 350 turbo and 7.8 in the 350 hybrid. So, you know, it's a pretty quick vehicle, 6.65. I won't be surprised if it can get faster when you're not turning and the conditions are better. So pretty impressive overall right there with the acceleration. And I'm just gonna hammer down and almost hit that bird there. But yeah, the response is there, the electric motors, then the gasoline engine kicks in more of like a traditional eCVT hybrid we see from Toyota and Lexus. Overall, very responsive and pretty darn quick. This is going to be the second quickest vehicle in theory behind the 500h. So I'll be testing that vehicle. I'll put those numbers up, the 0 to 60 numbers compared to this that I got. Lexus is estimating like a 5.9 second 0 to 60, somewhere around there for the 500h. So we're going to get in the brake test real quick here. And now a little Yaris right there. Brakes are excellent, and this vehicle's even, it might be the heaviest of all the Lexus RXs because we have that large 18.1 kilowatt hour battery at the bottom of this vehicle. But the brake feel felt very strong, and maybe it helps that that battery weight is very low in this vehicle. I didn't feel any noticeable pitch and dive going on there either. Now I put it back into auto EV mode, and I'm going about 80 kilometers per hour, which I'm guessing is around 55. And it's in full EV mode. It's going to definitely like getting into EV mode a lot more often than your normal hybrid, assuming there's enough juice in the battery. Speaking of juice in the battery, it says 29 kilometers left. So I'll put what that is in miles. It's probably something like 18 miles. I really don't know off the top of my head, but that's how much juice I have left in this battery, assuming max range is probably in the mid to low 30s. Again, that's just my guess. And of course, your mileage will vary. It wouldn't be hard for me to get well over, maybe even into the low 40s with miles per range in Florida, for example, where it's flat and warm all the time. Getting in the brakes a little bit, throwing it in the turn. It definitely feels heavier in the turn than the 350 that I test drove just before this. So definitely feels heavier in the turn, but quicker to accelerate. And the braking, like I said, felt really, really strong in this. Not much different than the 350h and the 350 turbo. Now, this vehicle is probably going to sit on top of the expense of product stack, just because batteries aren't cheap. Batteries are very expensive. It's not a small battery, being 18 kilowatts. So this vehicle, more than likely, is probably going to be a luxury trim only here in the United States when we get it. Don't quote me on that, but there's a possibility. And more than likely, it's going to cost the most. It's probably going to start around 55 to 60K and maybe top out around 65K, possibly more. And with the EV tax credit, it's not going to qualify anymore because the government has changed the EV tax credits, where if the vehicle is built in Japan, which this will be, the plug-in hybrid, for example, as well as the front-wheel drive 350s, those will be built in Japan as well. Anyways, if it's built in Japan, it doesn't get the EV tax credit for EV or plug-in hybrid anymore. So it is what it is there. But plug-in hybrids are the best of both worlds. You get great acceleration, not quite as fast as an EV, but it's typically way outpacing gas counterparts, for example, like I've already proven with the 0 to 60 here. It's quieter and smoother than, let's say, the turbo model. And you're going to spend a lot less on gas if you're able to plug this in on a regular basis. And if this is getting over 30 miles of range, it won't have any problem taking care of the majority of people's daily driving. It all depends on how much you drive, right? But just around town, this would be a great vehicle. But the thing is, if you're not driving it that much, it's hard to also justify, you know, the small range that it gives you and the high price tag. But it does give you the best of everything. It's the no compromise powertrain. Great acceleration, great performance, great quietness, great luxury, and the smoothness that it provides, electric feel and electric practicality by plugging it in at home and not using that much gas. So it just costs a lot, and that's where the downfall of the plug-in hybrid is. Again, we don't know exactly what this is going to be priced at. If I had to take a stab, I would say 65K is just my guess where we're going to see most of these go for. And just accelerating here about, I'd say 50-60%, whisper quiet, no vibrations coming through at all. It's absolutely brilliant. Now we have three hybrid variants, a 500h, this plug-in hybrid, and the 350h. Is this the best out of them? I would have to say absolutely, but like I said, it comes in at a cost. The 500h though is going to give you that performance similar to this, at least when it comes to acceleration, and will actually outperform this when it comes to braking and cornering, as it is a lighter vehicle with bigger brakes. And the 350h is going to be the more commoner's hybrid, the one that I would probably be getting, because it just is not going to cost you an arm and a leg. You're going to get 35 to 40 miles per gallon depending on your driving habits, and it's still going to be almost as smooth as this, but not quite, because you still are going to have that gasoline engine cutting in a lot more often than this one does. So why is America not getting at launch? Well, it's because Toyota doesn't have an infinite amount of these battery packs. We know that from the NX plug-in hybrid. We know that from the RAV4 Prime. So Toyota and Lexus have to be strategic about which markets see it first. In Europe, things are a lot more strict over there. China, the electrification market is a lot more intense as well. So that, therefore, North America is the last to get it out of its three major luxury markets for Lexus. I'm not that sad about it. I get it as a consumer, but at least we have three other powertrains to whet our appetite in the meantime, waiting for this to come to market as an additional option. Now, I'm not going to do a full exterior interior overview of this vehicle. If you want more information on that, definitely watch my walkarounds of, let's say, the 350h or the 350 turbo, because those are both luxury grade and are essentially identical on the exterior and interior of this vehicle. So definitely check those out as I head back to the winery. And I can't wait to see your questions and comments down below on, oh, I'm just gonna do one last 0 to 60 because I can, right? I think I'm still in sport mode. I'm still in sport mode. We'll see if, we'll put it in auto mode. I can torque brake a little bit and go. I felt like it didn't launch as hard there, to be honest. 6.65. So I don't remember what it was before, but I think that's a pretty similar result, even though I torque braked it there, but I don't think the torque braking helped it. So anyways, I'm gonna end it there. Thank you so much for watching my first driving impressions, real short, only about 15 minutes here with this plug-in hybrid RX 450h Plus. Who knows, maybe one day I'll be saying RX 450e, fully electric version. We know the RZ is coming out later this year, early next year, and I wouldn't be surprised if they can slot that battery pack in this vehicle that has an identical wheelbase. We'll see, time will tell. Anyways, got to cut myself off. Check in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the remaining coverage of my Lexus media drive for the new RX. Okay, all done. Thank you for watching. Peace out.